Hello, and welcome back to Better Financial Health in 15 minutes or less, and I'm Stacey Hyde. Today I'd like to talk about year-end planning. Kind of a couple of things you can do as you get ready to go into the holidays to just make your life better financially by the end of the year, maybe make those New Year's resolutions a little bit easier, and just a couple of things that you may not have thought of. The first thing is if you're going to be making some charitable contributions at the end of the year, one thing that is different than in years past, usually if you didn't itemize your deductions, meaning, maybe you didn't own a house or didn't have a mortgage or whatever, and you weren't contributing quite a bit of money to charity, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to get receipts or to keep up with them. But one of the things that passed in the Tax Act to encourage people to help, their fellow American is anyone who does not itemize can deduct $300 from their taxes. It's on the front page of the tax form, but you do need to have receipts. So if you give some money to your church, the local food bank, whatever it may be, make sure you get a receipt. Now this is for cash donations only. It does not include, giving stuff to Goodwill or something like that. So for cash donations up to $300, you can deduct those. So that's a nice little thing to know. It's also a good time of year to help folks. The other thing is, as we talked about in a previous podcast, we talked about open enrollment. If you haven't done that, make sure you look at it. It's also a good time to rebalance your 401k. What that means is if you are managing your own 401k, you're picking different investment options. When you put that in, you had 25% to this fund, 10% to this fund. Well, with the way the market's gone this year, chances are that's kind of out of whack. And it's a good time to go back in and just put in those same percentages and just click rebalance, because what it will do is it will sell what's gone up and it will buy what is not done as well. And that's just a way to make sure that your retirement account stays on track. It's an easy thing to do, and it is a great, easy way to do what you're supposed to do, which is buy low, sell high. And by rebalancing, that's exactly what you're doing. You're selling what's performed the best and you're buying what's performed the worst. So that's a good thing to do it. If you're using a target date fund, you may just want to double check that that's still the right target date for you. Maybe you're planning to retire later or earlier and you want to adjust that. Also make sure you've got a good one. Morningstar.com can give you some information on that. The other thing that I would suggest you do is it's a good time to go through and clean out closets, get rid of stuff you don't need, streamline, because you're going to be decorating for the holidays, or most people will, and going ahead and getting rid of the extra clutter now will just make that process so much easier. And given what we're hearing about shortages of different, turkeys and just different things that are used for the holidays, you may want to do your holiday shopping for food a little bit earlier and just go ahead and put it in the freezer and have it on hand. The same is true if you're wanting any sought after gifts. You may want to start paying attention to that. Or one thing I would really encourage you to do is to really sit down and look at what your financial situation looks like. How much debt do you have? Are there any credit cards you can get paid off? And kind of clean up your financial life too. Look at how many streaming services you're subscribing to, maybe cancel some of those. And once you do that, figure out how much you can really afford to allocate for Christmas gifts. I know for me personally, I don't really need a lot of stuff, but especially with the pandemic, I've really enjoyed getting together with my friends, going out or having them over, and we all cook together. It's a lot less expensive, and we have so much fun, and we just enjoy each other's company now that we're all vaccinated and can really get back and hug each other again. I think that has been probably the thing I've missed the most. So I would encourage you to do some stuff like that instead of trying to find a bunch of stuff that probably nobody really needs, and just maybe set up a series of different get-togethers with different groups of friends. Or maybe even have one big get-together and introduce people that you love to different people that you love, and then you can all be friends together. So that's something you can do there, but I would really, really encourage you to stay away from credit card debt this year. Only buy what you can afford to pay off when you get that credit card bill. Don't be paying for this Christmas, next Christmas, or 3 Christmases from now. Really focus on making stuff impactful. Maybe you make some stuff. That's a big piece of year-end planning. Also, if you're back to taxes again, if you think that you're going to maybe have some mutual funds that you own in an after-tax account that are going to pay out a big capital gains distribution, but maybe you haven't owned it that long and you haven't really participated in that, you may want to consider selling it. You can get this information on the mutual fund company's website. Most of them are, if they haven't, in the next week or so, they'll be posting their potential capital gains. So you want to pay attention to that. It's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you've owned the fund for a long time, but it will impact the taxes you owe there. So that's something, if you work with an advisor, maybe talk to them about as well. I know it's something we do for our clients. And then if you have something that you own that's maybe at a loss, maybe sell it. You have to wait 30 days before you can buy it back, but you can sell it and you can use that loss against your taxes, against stuff that's made money. Now, this only works if you're buying it outside of a retirement plan or IRA, so it's after tax money, or sometimes you'll see it called non-qualified. It means that it's not a tax qualified plan, and you can take advantage of some stuff there. So those are really the key things. Be very deliberate about your spending for the holidays. Keep those receipts for charitable contributions. Hug your family, enjoy being back together, and just have a wonderful holiday season, and hopefully it'll start to feel more normal, whatever that is these days. Thanks for tuning in to Better Financial Health in 15 minutes or less, and I'm Stacey Hyde.